Cover. This is prepared. Good morning to all of you. As part of the inaugural, I would like to welcome our chief guest, Hon'ble Justice Madan B Lokur, for this function. And I would request Professor Faizan, our Vice Chancellor, to greet him with a bouquet for this inaugural session. I would also like to invite now Honorable Justice Bilal Maski Saab, who was also the former Chancellor here, for this function, for the inaugural. I will also welcome Professor Faizan, our Vice Chancellor. To begin with, I thought I will spend a few words about our chief guest who is going to speak today. He has a very long association with Nalsar. I would rather say prior to his own association, his son was a proud alumni of Nalsar Unievrsity. From there, the relationship begins. And later on, Justice Lokur Saab took over as the Chancellor in 2011 and 12 in Nalsar. That is the association as far as Nalsar is concerned. As far as Justice Lokur's career, I think he is a proud alumni of St. Joseph's College and then Stephen's College, and obtained his law degree from Delhi University and had a good practice in Delhi before he moved to judiciary. He has served in various courts, and the last before he was elevated to the Supreme Court was the Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh. And Justice Lokur Saab's one of the important thing today, his presence has a connection with the subject of our workshop, that is computer related invention, in the sense he was the person for 4 years, looking after the National E-Committee, which had made significant contributions to make courts litigant friendly and lower the cost of trial. The E-Committee, in consultation with high courts, got video conferencing facilities installed in 95% of the 830 locations. This actually reduced the cost of transportation of accused persons from jail to court, as the trial can continue through video conferencing between the court and the jail. It's estimated to have saved more than 100 crores every year. Under him, the E-Committee successfully put in place a national judicial data grid for district courts across the country. This provides, at a glance, a pendency of cases under various categories in every district court, allowing the High Court Chief Justices to issue advice and directions to district courts. So, this is one, I thought, his connection with today's workshop and seminar. Of course, we may be talking on a narrow band area like computer related inventions, but we all know for simple reason that what was considered as one point of time a kind of technology which only reserved for some elites now has become part and parcel. So let me also take this opportunity, apart from welcoming them, to little bit spend 5 minutes or so on the workshop conference, as one of the important thing I want to tell. Normally in Indian conferences and workshops, people apologize for starting late. This we are apologizing for starting early, because we have preponed it, because there is a General Council meeting which honorable members have come, and they all have to be part of that. That is the reason I thought, we have preponed a little bit from the original time what we scheduled. Now let me come to a little bit on the workshop of computer related inventions. As I said in the beginning, I remembered one of our interesting, colorful neta in Indian politics once remarked that, will computer give you water, or will it computer give you food? This was one of the famously humorous thing in the early 90s when people were talking about computers, etc. They said it has nothing to do with the masses. But today, very interestingly, computer can give you food, computer can give you water, in the sense that today in Nalsar itself, there is a company called Big Basket which comes thrice a day to Nalsar campus to deliver vegetables, to deliver food products. And then today, if you want anything and everything, you got an app which works on it. That's what I said. For a long time, we don't know where the taxis are. Taxi drivers did not know where we are, right? And one person thought, when somebody wants business and somebody wants travel, how to connect them? There came Uber. Uber and Ola is nothing but one technocrat who did not get taxi for a few hours in Paris. When he got the taxi, he said that I couldn't get taxi in such a big city. The driver said, I couldn't get a client for 3 hours. But both of them were in different streets. So he went back, started an app. So we are really looking at an app world where people are now talking about artificial intelligence. They are also talking about an app-based court system could be a future. That's the kind of imagination people are telling. But at the same time, when we say technology is, rushing in front, there is always a kind of interface with law, which often means one of my claim is that if why is the important question for science, how is the important question for technology, for whom is the important question of law. So there seems to be all three revolving around, but having their own perspective about how to deal this whole issue. It is in this context when computer, which we knew as PC hardware at a point of time, and software was given free to you. When you buy a hardware, you get software free. And that was the status about 2-3 decades ago. And things started changing so rapid that today probably you will get a PC free if you have bought a software. So that is a complete ultimate change how software has moved in. But at the same time, if you look at intellectual property, that is the subject matter, it always had protection for hardware. There is no issue at all in the patents law. But when it came to software, by analysis, it was considered as a mathematical algorithm, which is not a machine, which is an expression, and so expressions are copyrightable and they cannot be part of patent system, has been the long-held jurisprudence, not in India, in the United States, in Europe, and many places. But overall, in the last 3 decades, the speed with which software and other things are changing, people are really trying to take a relook. In the United States, it began with allowing patents for certain softwares which they considered worth to be given patents. Of course, there was no specific section in the law, but courts over a period of different judgments allowed software to be patented. And later on, other places like Europe also made certain distinction whether a software can be given on certain conditionality. And Indian context, I would rather say we have been for a long time, I would say that we have been little patent allergic because also of the fallbacks. So India has strictly kept many of these things to be out under section 3, and one is what you call a software, where we use the word software per se cannot be allowed for patents. And English is a strange language, per se, and there has been debates and debates about the word per se. What is per se? What is per se? They said it is as such. What is as such? It is per se. So you really had a big problem about trying to redefine this. And of course, periodically, I would rather say the Madhusudan deputy controller here, they are in the receiving end because people argue with them, this is not per se, this is not as such. And they were looking at, basically the government, please give us guidelines, how to really go about this. So the guidelines had been given in 2013, again it has been revamped in 2016, and again in one of the recent judgment in Delhi, High Court Hon'ble Justice, Justice Manmohan in his case on Ericsson judgment gave a different interpretation. So all that has now put certain flux about where does computer-related invention stand. Hardware, no problem. But when it comes to software, does it qualify to be like a hardware to get a patent or not to get a patent? Seems to be the biggest debate happening. And as I said, patent is a matrix where you have different type of stakeholders. You have developed countries and developing, that is one of the matrix. And then you got innovators, and then other startups, that is another polarity. And then you got patent holders and consumers who don't see eye to eye. So you really have a very complex public policy challenge in terms of patents law, how to move it forward, how to gain certain things in one hand, at the same time how to manage access. That seems to be the biggest question. So today's workshop, if I put it, we have got 3 important sessions, and we have invited people who have worked long time and who had experience on this, starting with a session just after the inaugural, and post-lunch we've got 2 sessions. This is going to deal or try to attempt demystify what is computer-related inventions, what the current act and rules, that none other than patent office people are going to talk, and then I got Director Garg, who has come from Ministry of Information Technology, who is spearheading this area. He is going to speak, and then afternoon we have other software consultants, some of the IP lawyers who have been doing this work, and also a colleague from Rajiv Gandhi School in IIT Kharagpur who has done a book on computer-related invention. All these people are going to speak today, and they're going to put their perspective, and I'm sure many of you law students from Nalsar, law students and faculty from in and around Hyderabad, and also a lot of people in the technical field will be able to understand what are the current issues, and also will be able to interact and understand what is going to happen. And this is the workshop which I wanted to give a brief about you. So since I am keeping my eye on the clock and also looking at Vice Chancellor, who is more, looking at this 11 o'clock, what you call as General Council meeting, which is one of the biggest event for this year. And so in that context, I would again like to thank, Justice Lokur Saab for coming here to give the, his address to you, and also other dignitaries. I got Professor Jaiswal, who is the Vice Chancellor of Patiala, Rajiv Gandhi National Law University, and then you got Professor Ravi Kumar who is heading the HR from Indian Institute of Bangalore, and I'm sure that other colleagues were all joined here. So thank you all. Now let me invite Honorable Justice Madan Lokur to share his views on this subject. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Former Chief Justice Naski, Professor Faizan, Professor Vivekanadan, and the resource persons who are here today, and the students. I'm not a great person to talk about computer-related inventions, but I can certainly tell you that we are at a stage where I think we need to look at technology and what it's going to do for us in the next couple of years, and why we should be prepared for it. A couple of days ago, I read in the newspapers that there is a hotel in Japan. I suppose that must be one of many, I don't know. But there is certainly one hotel in Japan where they don't have a receptionist. They have a robot which is waiting over there, and a customer comes and checks in, and whatever forms, whatever formalities have to be completed are done through that robot. This was just a couple of days ago that item came in the newspapers. There was another item that I saw in the newspapers again a few days ago, which said that in one particular place, houses are being built. At least one house has been built with this computer-generated program and a 3D printer. Now, with these kind of changes that are taking place, we have to think about where are we heading in terms of laws, in terms of jurisprudence, and what are the challenges that we're going to face. Now, today what we are seeing is that these are things, of course, a robot and all that, perhaps by the end of the year there will be many more in Japan. These kind of houses which are printed from a 3D printer, perhaps there will be many more in other parts of the world. But today we are dealing with drones, for example. Now, something like drones was probably not very well known in India, definitely, maybe about 5 or 6 years back. But today we are dealing with drones virtually on a daily basis. You have wedding receptions and so on, which are photographed through drones. We had a function, the 50 years of Delhi High Court, where the internal part of the High Court building, the entire film was made with the use of a drone. So these are things that are happening on a day-to-day basis. Again, a couple of days back, a couple of weeks back, there was something about an underwater drone, something which I had not heard of, which was captured by the Chinese, some American underwater drone. And after capturing it, the Chinese, said that we will return it to you in a couple of days. The Americans, after a couple of days, they said, sorry, we don't want it back, because they were afraid that the technology that is there in the underwater drones had already been copied by the Chinese. So things are developing so fast that really we are, at a stage where we must know how are we going to deal with these day-to-day issues. There would have been challenges a couple of years ago, but today they are not challenges. They are realities that are facing us on a day-to-day basis. Artificial intelligence is another area that is again rapidly developing. We started off with programs for chess, for example, but now there are several other uses of artificial intelligence. Where does all this lead us? Today, like I said, we do not have any developed jurisprudence on matters related to computers. Professor Vivekanadan had mentioned about the flux that has been caused by certain judgments that have been delivered in the recent past. Well, there are views and views on how to interpret something. Maybe a decade ago, a software program was looked at as something which was copyrightable. Today, perhaps it is not something that is looked at as copyrightable, but something that is patentable. So these things are changing, and we need to be aware of them. We need to look at them, with a greater analysis than we are doing at the present moment. We need to develop that jurisprudence. I can tell you that as a judge and having interacted with a very large number of judicial officers across the country through the judicial academies that we have in every state and the National Judicial Academy, that a large number of our judicial officers are being faced with cyber crimes. Now, many of them don't even know whether it's a cyber crime or not. Right? So if there is some complaint that has been filed or some charge sheet that has been filed, they perhaps look at the IPC to find out whether it's a crime or not. If it does not fall within the definition of certain crimes in the IPC, then perhaps they might look at some other statute depending on what the prosecutor does, and then go along as the case progresses. So many of them, first of all, don't know what is what is a cyber crime, whether it is a crime at all or not. The second thing is, how does one look at the evidence? There can be a tampering of a hard disk, for example. How do you find out that a hard disk has been tampered with? How do you find out that an email is not a genuine email? How do you find out whether an SMS is a genuine SMS or not? There have been instances. I've come across one particular instance in a matrimonial case where the lady had got some kind of messages from her husband, perhaps threatening her or dowry or something or the other. And she brought the mobile phone to the court and said, well, here are the SMSs that have been sent to me by my husband demanding dowry or making some allegations against her. What do I do? And the judge said, well, you leave your phone behind because that's a part of evidence, that's case property. Now, obviously, she did not want to leave the phone behind. And it was wrong on the part of the judge to have said that you leave the phone behind because it's, evidence. So these are day-to-day issues, these are day-to-day problems, that we are dealing with. And really, the lawyers don't know how to react, the judges don't know how to react, the litigants don't know how to react. So when we look at issues related to computers, when we look at the jurisprudence, when we look at electronic evidence, when we look at mobile apps, to what extent can they help us, to what extent can they cause a problem, I think we need to be prepared. We have issues of privacy. Well, not many people know that when you subscribe to an app, you just keep saying yes, 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 and go on to the next screen. You don't know what you're saying yes to. And well, one of the things that you're saying yes to is when you're using your mobile camera, is you're permitting that person to use the microphone in your mobile camera. You're permitting that person to use the camera, the camera and the microphone in the mobile phone. Now, in other words, it is possible that while you're sitting over here, somebody might somewhere switch on the microphone in your mobile phone and listen to what you're saying. What about issues of privacy in that? You're going out somewhere and suddenly, somebody somewhere puts on the camera on your mobile phone. What about issues of privacy in that? And there was an instance where recently from Meerut, where some girl was on Facebook or something with somebody that she knew, and this fellow switched on her camera without her knowing it. And it just so happened that at one of these occasions when she was chatting with this person, she decided to change her clothes, and it got recorded, and this person began to blackmail her. So, these are things which are happening on a day-to-day basis. And are we ready for it? As law students, are we concentrating on these issues? As lawyers, are we looking at it? What about prosecutors? Are they aware of all these problems? Because they are the ones who are going to prosecute, the persons who are committing offenses. What about the judges? You might have a huge problem, like you had this credit cards being hacked. A couple of million credit cards were hacked some time back. How is the judiciary going to tackle these issues? Ultimately, many of us will have to learn these things all over again. First of all, try and understand what computers are about, and then look at the legal issues. But I think you have this opportunity. All of you are familiar with the use of computers. I can't say the same about judges. I can't say the same about lawyers. I can't say the same about prosecutors. I can't say the same about litigants. But you as students, all of you are, well versed in the use of computers. And really, in the next couple of years, if not now, your expertise on issues like are being discussed today on computer-generated inventions, on issues pertaining to the use of computers, what are the challenges that we are facing, what are the problems that we are facing, what are the issues that we are facing, what are the challenges, problems and issues that we are likely to face in the next couple of years, how do we tackle them? I think all these become very important. I'm very glad I had the occasion to meet some of your resource persons in the morning and some of them last night. You have a very fine set of people who will be with you during the course of the day. I would encourage all of you, to take advantage of their presence. What is happening today is, I think, something extremely important. And I would certainly congratulate Professor Faizan and Professor Vivekanadan for organizing this. Please take advantage, and hopefully in the next couple of years you will be able to teach us a couple of things about computers and computer-generated inventions. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Now I request Professor Faizan Saab to come and give a vote of thanks and say a few words.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Professor Vivek. On behalf of Nalsar University, I want to express my deep felt gratitude to His Lordship, Hon'ble Justice Madan B Lokur, who has been the Chancellor of the University, who very kindly agreed to find some time prior to GC meeting to inaugurate this very important workshop. As Justice Lokur was saying, that there was a message from husband to wife demanding dowry. There may be messages like divorcing her, and then if husband says, no, I didn't send it, and some mullah will say that no, the divorce is now complete already. So you have all kinds of legal issues involved, and I think we need to start a conversation on matters like this, first we need to have a good conversation. I'm also thankful to His Lordship Justice Bilal Naski, who was also Chancellor here, and then he was my Chancellor in Orissa for a few days when I was the Vice Chancellor at NLU Cuttack before his superannuation. So we are grateful to you that you agreed to our request. Nalsar sir, in terms of the IP policy of the country, is playing some role. Our MHRD Chair, Professor Vivekanadan, is regularly going to the WIPO meetings in Geneva. We are assisting the Government of India in the drafting of its IP policy, and the government is very keen to set up a cyber law center at Nalsar. We have already sent a proposal which is being considered by the government at the moment. So IPR is a priority, and in terms of dissemination of knowledge of IPR, our patent law course, which Professor Vivek runs as director of Nalsar Pro, is hugely popular, and we have given some good professionals to the country in terms of patent lawyering. And to our course we bring number of non-law people, engineers and people who are working in the pharmaceutical industry. So we are trying to create a kind of integration of knowledge. We are not just keeping ourselves confined to the statutory law and the case law, which is developing every day. A reference was made in the previous speeches to the Delhi High Court judgment, which I think is going to be overruled soon. So I wish you luck. I am sure that you will have very rich and absorbing deliberations during the day. I apologize for preponing the workshop, but we have some other agenda also, you know. General Council meeting is important because university's budget is passed and the annual report of the university is approved. So once more, I am thankful to each one of you. I think you will have now a tea break and then you will carry on. Okay, we will present some small memento as a token of our respect and gratitude to our guests.
Yes, our token of affection and appreciation, Professor Faizan will to Justice Bilal Naski, sir. So, I think, as I said, that this is one of those early occasions we are finishing, and we are having a tea break outside for about 20-25 minutes, and then we assemble back for the first session, whereas our guests have to proceed for the General Council meeting. Thank you.